Welcome back, folks. MTG Joe here. Today we are going to be trying out a brew in the Timeless Best of 3 format. This upcoming week is the Timeless Metagame Challenge, and I'm going to put out a video with the best decks for the format, but if you've watched my content from now and then, you know I typically don't like playing the Tier 1 deck. I hate mirror matches, so I usually like playing Tier 2 decks, or just kind of off the wall, things people don't expect coming as much as possible. And one of my all-time favorite historic decks, deck that I got 3 wins on day 2 of a qualifier weekend and almost made the Arena Championship with, is Muxus Goblins. So in the past there was mono red. This newest version is very light Rakdos, so I ported over a historic version. I want to see how it plays out in this timeless format. So kind of the core of the deck is Muxus Goblin Grandee. So you want to cast this 6 mana goblin. Comes into play, you reveal the top 6 cards of your library, you put all goblins into play basically. Then when Muxus attack, it gets +1/1 for each goblin you control. So ideally what you want is Muxus, one of the haste enablers, Chieftain or Goblin War Chief, as well as Krenko Mob Boss. And with that, it lets you basically activate Krenko right away. You make a bunch of tokens, and then with Sling Commander, you get to basically sack your goblins and drain your opponent for a bunch of life in addition. We can ramp up ahead on mana with Skirk Prospector as well to get this out earlier. I didn't want to play the 4 mana sorcery that makes 7 mana. I wanted to play as many kind of goblins as possible and be an aggressive deck. I want to try out how Fable to see how it plays out here. We can also do Palish Mon, Pal, spelling, Mon. It's gonna be like impossible to find this goblin. Got like a weird name, Pashalik Mons. Whenever it or another goblin you control dies, you deal 1 point of damage to any target. So that's another creature we could consider to kind of play out in the deck as well. But I want to try out the Fables. It helps us loot. The biggest thing is it helps us generate some mana as well, and then we can copy our other threats, which is nice. Copying Sling Gang makes us 3 bodies basically, which is nice ammunition. We have Ruvenet Horde Master, so while being a 1/1 and can be pinged by Bowmaster, this kind of replaces itself. We have Snoop that can play cards off the top of our library that are goblins. It also gets the activated abilities, so it can like activate and pretend to be a Krenko, for example. It can also become a copy of Reflection. Actually, no, it can't. Never mind. But then we have Munition Expert as some removal. The one thing I want to try out as well, this deck is a little bit more mana hungry. We're playing 20 lands, but it could be right going to like 21, 22. I want to see if this can suffice to kind of accommodate it, but we very well could be adding another land at the minimum, especially because we're playing 5 fetch lines in the deck, which kind of thin out the deck in terms of lands. Playing some Lightning Bolts as removal main, a Den, Crucible, we have 4 Crypt, 1 Raucous Theater to kind of set up our draw. Turn 1, we usually don't need mana. We could kind of set up a Scry. We also have Cavern of Souls for uncounterable goblins. In terms of our sideboard, pretty easy. Unholy Heat as removal. Should be able... It's actually an interesting question. Do we have enough for Delirium in this deck? I don't think we do, actually. So it might be that Unholy Heat's not consistent enough. So what we might want to do is go for the Throat. We can play Go for the Throat in black, play a couple copies of that, and maybe Molten Collapse, or maybe an Edict. We'll play a Shelley's Edict, kind of mixed into there. I guess the one thing here is, do we want a basic swamp? I don't think we do. With Blood Moon, we're probably fine. We could play a basic swamp, but I generally want most of my spells, like lands, to produce like black mana here, or like red mana. We can see how the games go. Like, we do lock ourselves out with the Blood Moon, so that's kind of a consideration there. Basically, activated abilities, we have Graveyard Hate with the Soul Guide Lantern in here. Some removal options, Unlicensed Hearse for Graveyard Hate with Soul Guide, and then Blood Moon for the greedier mana decks as well. This will be for show and tell. We'll bring in the Roiling Vortex. I think we could probably forego for a swamp. I think if we're bringing Blood Moon, we do still want access to our black cards most likely. So we'll just play the one swamp. Oh, it's adding to our sideboard. Oops. So this is the fun thing with brewing. You talk through it. Sometimes stuff makes sense. Sometimes you just need to make slight modifications on the fly. So we're going to see how this goes. We are currently plat 4, so greatest time ever to brew, and just see if this works. Like I said, this could very well, we'll try to do 2 to 3 matches with it, see how it feels in those games. I'm less focused on necessarily like the overall win and loss record. I'm more concerned with like, does this feel playable? Does it feel like we're playing like a different format than our opponents? And then one thing we're going to want to do is test the lands. Really, like, we're not going to claim to break the meta. We're not doing any of that. We just want to see, is this type of archetype something that's reasonable to try out, to continue building and kind of working towards as we play the games. Because you're in red, you don't get necessarily access to things like Unholy Heat. We could also play Bowmaster. That's another consideration if we want. We can sideboard into that, especially with the one swamp in the mana base. We could accommodate that. So we can kind of see how those games are going. But we'll get some games playing against a diamond rank player. We'll play first. I think this is fine. We have the curve of War Chief into activate Krenko with haste, which is always good. So what you want to do is set an upkeep stop, because depending on whether or not you have that, you can activate it. So this is Domain Zoo. They will have bolts, they will have stuff like that that we need to be considerate of. They will have some various answers. This is a matchup the Blood Moons will be very good. Okay, so I could technically, so that's actually really good for us, because with that on top, depending if they try to kill one of my creatures, I can sack it and then generate the mana for Lightning Bolt, which is kind of cool. So we'll just kill Ragavan here, I think. I guess I technically should have waited. Take the block here. I think we're going to attack here. We're not going to block, so that's fine. When they fetch here, I am going to Munitions Expert and kill the Wild Nacatl. They're going to get the Sultai Triome here. Okay, so they're not going to do that. Okay, we have Kavu. So a little bit of a misplay there. I should have kept the cavern open. Because they could kill something in response now. Okay, so they Leyline Binding. It could have like another effect here, but just forest. Probably gonna trade here. think we skirk. So the question is, like, do I want to just set up? I think we're just setting up this turn, to be honest. We'll take the 5. Maybe been wrong. We should have probably just gone Chieftain here to set up the Krenko, but us not hitting the land's a little annoying. Depending what they do, though, I can use the ability of Siege Gang, so I can always block and kind of go from there. I think we're just taking the damage this turn. You have to be somewhat mindful that they do have burn in their deck. Okay, so we have a land on top. Think we just go Chieftain here. It sets me up for the Krenko turn, which I like. I'm gonna hold one thing back. Actually, I screwed that up. We had lethal. That was a mistake. I didn't realize we were that low, but they could have had the force spike. I think we're just going to bolt face here. Yeah. So this is non-creature spell. I couldn't remember if it targeted creatures or not. Takes them off Jangantha. We go second Kavu here. So they should just be dead here. They could have Bowmaster. Bowmaster does hit Siege Gang. So yeah, we just Krenko here and then kind of go to town. So that was a good start for the deck. I do think in this matchup, we do want the Blood Moons. And I think we're going to take out the Fables. They're probably too slow. If I could turn 2 Blood Moon, it'd be pretty strong. I do think I want the extra pieces of removal and go for the throat. Siege Gang's probably too slow. And we probably just take out... So the Lord effects are pretty good, but they probably bring in like Bowmaster versus us. Some number. I do like the haste creatures. It's probably Krenko, to be honest. At least on the play. We don't want to draw multiples of it. We saw it stuck in our hand that game. So we'll keep this hand, I think. We have Muxus. We have ways to potentially power it out early. They have a Regavan draw. It's a little rough. Maybe should have mulliganed this. Yeah, Monkey draw is really good. So we did hit the Blood Moon. So hopefully they don't have the Boat Master. They generally don't have black mana that they can use right away. Okay, so they use the Bolt here. It's a little unfortunate. We have the one of like tap land, which is really bad. They hit our untapped land, which we kind of wanted. If they go Kavu here, it's pretty bad. Probably should have mulliganed this hand. It wasn't really playable. Untap land. We can block Ragavan if they don't have removal. Bit unfortunate. See if we hit a land or not. If we don't, then I am just gonna probably concede this one. Yeah, I don't want to show him Blood Moon. We're a little too far behind there. I think we just run it back. Being on the play, like turn 1 Ragavan, you don't have removal, they hit 2 pieces of removal early, is going to get you. Not much we could really do there. This hand's not going to do anything. This one's probably fine. I think all things considered, I'm just going to put that back. It's an interesting one. I think we bin it. I want to get into this Muxus as early as possible. One thing we'll do is fetch a basic swamp, potentially. Okay, so they missed lands here, which is great for us. Because they're an aggressive deck, I'm going to proactively fetch basics. So the thing is, they probably bolt the War Chief. So the question is, we can get that out early, they bolt it, which is probably fine. That takes their whole turn and I get to get some points of damage in. Because if not, I get closer to this Muxus. Yeah, so we take that one. They stumble on lands, we got a head on that one, which is nice. We may want... It's a bit tricky because I don't think we want like Fanatical Firebrand. I think in that matchup we just have to rely on our early removal and then just try to stay alive. But good showing. Took down Zoo, took down a Diamond player pretty early. Obviously they stumbled on mana there, but we took the game 1, game 2. They had a lot of removal, but keeping a 1-lander on the draw, they must have had just like a lot of 2-drops, but even then, seems a bit iffy. A card that I would love for this deck, but is bad in a Bowmaster meta, is Crucius. Just being able to like discard a 4-drop, always find your Muxus is really big. So no Muxus cast, but Goblins on the board. Yogan Slogan. Play first. That is awesome. We will keep. I think I want to keep the fetches for Snoop. Just because we can kind of fix the top of our library. They have Once Upon a Time. So they're casting it wrong. You shouldn't do it at this point. You should draw your card for turn. So this is Titan Field. We have the Blood Moons, which will help. They're also fairly slow, so we might just be able to go wider than them, and with Sling Gang, just be able to drain them. We have Kami. Another Krenko's not exactly what I want. So next turn I'm probably going to just fetch and then play this Aftermath Analyst. The new one. So trying to take advantage of field that way there. The Grazer. It's actually a much faster way to turn on field. So we're going to be racing. Munitions expert. We can try that, depending on how they block. Because if I could take out the Aftermath Analyst if they double block, I'd be happy with doing so. And you know what? I think I'm more scared. So I don't beat a Titan, but I don't beat the field. I think we bend this. Just because they're going to get back 1, 2, 3. Plus the land drop for turn with the fetches, it just creates such a obscene amount of pressure. Okay, so I don't want that on top, so we're going to fetch that away. Let's just get a basic here. Scrybug. So next turn I can make a whole bunch of goblins and then drain them out, hopefully with the Siege Gang. I could generate a whole bunch of mana as well, hopefully play cards from the top of our library. So they might have Titan in hand. They have another Aftermath Analyst that could be pretty powerful. Okay, so Titan on the field. They'll get 2 lands here. Should be able to just keep chump blocking them and make like progressively more goblins. They got Blast Zone, which could be somewhat problematic, but I think all in all we're okay. Ooh, that's a nice one. Following turn. Actually, we might be able to do a few things here. So one, two, three, 4, cast Krenko. 1. It's so slow. 2, 3. And then get them that way there. So we're able to kind of combo off the top. We attack in. Whatever they block with, we sack, and then we just deal the damage to them with the rest. So I don't think we want the graveyard hate. And the thing is, I don't have Hearse in this deck, which is a little bad. Or not Hearse, Cage. Just given that Cage hurts us, we can't play stuff with Snoop. But it might be right to still play it. So we have the Blood Moons. I don't think we want the Graveyard Hate. It's too incidental. I don't think it's impactful enough. We probably want the Go for the Throats. Probably get rid of Munitions Expert. Actually, probably get rid of Fable here. Fable's like the slowest, especially because we're bringing in a 3. I think we do trim a couple Munitions Experts. And then just leave it like that. So we have Blood Moons, we have the Go for the Throats, we have for Titan. We may not even want Go for the Throats. Because we're bringing in Blood Moon. I don't necessarily want to fetch the Swamp. And this helps us just keep playing more things off the top. Chances are, like, once they play Titan, we've already gotten to a point that's pretty bad. This can deal with the early things. So let's run this and see how it goes. I think I might want Cage. We'll see. This hand's too slow. Mulligan. Ah, jeez. Well, that's probably should have kept that first hand. Or that second hand. Kind of unfortunate. I mean, we have Krenko into War Chief. That might be quick enough, but they have their good start. The fact they've been to Titan, it bodes pretty well for us. We just need a land. Land, please. Land, please. Splodunkadunk. Draw. So they can hard cast the Titan from hand. I'm gonna draw 3 drops now. I think if we don't draw land here, we just pass. Or like concede. Oh, let's just concede. Not beating this. So, Multi 4, you're not gonna beat Titan. Let's run it back. Hope for a little bit better of a draw. That other hand, I was just a little apprehensive. Just from the curve, it was a little slow. We couldn't cast the... Okay, we have turn 2 Blood Moon with our basic, so we'll keep this. Hopefully they go non-basic here. And I can cheese out. Get Stomping Ground. Be greedy. Be greedy. Come on, be greedy. They get the basic. I think this turn I'm gonna go Munitions Expert, because then this lets me keep Skirk around to work with Krenko. Because we don't necessarily need to moon this turn, but this also entices them. I'm having the basic mountains fine. We are going to cut them off mana now, I think. Yeah, especially with field going. So they'll have access to one forest. Some of these lists sometimes only play 2 forests. Not getting them early, so they can still channel a Kami. But even taking them off the Kami here is pretty impactful. So they have a Titan in hand. Hopefully no other green source. Impact Tremors. Okay. Opponent's cooking. Deals 1 to each opponent. So I think this turn it's just going with War Chief. And then just passing. We can get it haste, so it's fine. Okay, so they find the analyst. Dings me for 1. They did find their second forest. Lucky, lucky. And we are just flooding hard here. Oh, I shouldn't have attacked there with Skirk. Oh well. Should be fine. Even if they Titan here, we should be okay. Cool. Because they had to sack this anyways. So Blood Moon doing its thing. I don't think we can support Ashiok and Blood Moon. It's too much in the 3-drop slot. So I think it's just a little too ambitious. I think just going with the Blood Moon plan, taking him out there, and just being an aggressive deck. We've yet to hit a Muxus, but we've just been winning through like fair goblins. Which is kind of cool. Zoo, but this hand's a bit slow. Okay. I mean, I don't want to mull again. Little annoying. Let me just see if they're on mid-range or what. It's kind of frustrating. They're Jun mid-range. Try to get the Raucous Theater going. So we do want Graveyard Hate here. This is why we play the Raucous Theater, hopefully hit us into land. What is happening with this client? Okay, let's kill it and try to load. Sorry about that. Don't know why it's being so laggy. Yeah, we've seen enough. Deck doesn't want to find us lines, so... Alright, so this matchup... I think the Unlicensed Hearst is fine. Honestly, I don't... So they're going to have a lot of Inquisition style effects. They probably... Like, they're going to be on Bowmaster, so... Fable's usually pretty good just to grind. I don't want to be on Blood Moon. They're a Blood Moon deck. so they would just fetch accordingly. I don't want to be on... Vortex might be interesting. They're pretty aggressive with how they hit themselves, but at the same time they can just beat down pretty bad. So I think we just attack it like that. Minsc and Boo's a problem, but so maybe the Edict. I think otherwise I'm just trimming a Chieftain, trimming Ruvenald. Run it like that. It's going to be a tricky matchup. They're very interactive, and we really aren't. We can kill their early threats. Probably should have been that. We really need lands. Actually, with Muxus on top, that doesn't help us. So I think this game's just going to be lost to the Shuffler. So they're fetching around Blood Moon. We have another Thoughtseize. Okay, so our lands are killing us this game, which is really unfortunate. Not much we can do here when the deck doesn't want to cooperate, because even now I need running lands. I mean, we can always just win off Muxus, so it's always a thing. Keep in mind. Careless Iteration. Running Tear Asunder, which is interesting. Come on! Literally our entire top end is being drawn here. They're just gonna get aggressive now. They could start making tokens. Yeah, especially with Goyf. Okay, so our deck just failed us here. Not much could be done there. You draw all your top end and none of your actual interaction, like timely interaction. I do think I want another land though. Probably gonna cut a Fable. Let's try this out. Do one more with it. That last game doesn't really count. When you don't draw land, or you don't get lands, we collectively drew like 5 lands over 2 games. You want to see a little bit more. With that Jund matchup, we're probably underdogs anyways. Just the combination of discard, cheap threats, and removal. I think we'll keep this. We draw an untapped land, it's pretty good. Or Yorion anyways, so it's likely 5 color control. No, Death and Taxes. So I think here I might just go with Bolt on the Giver of Ruins. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I could have seen to see what they played secondary. Okay, so they probably have Bowmaster for me. I'm going to want to keep these munition experts for it. My guess is they take the War Chief. I'm just going to set up for the following turn, I think. They have a pause, so it's likely Swords to Plowshare. We do want to be mindful, like we don't just want to attack this into a Bowmaster. They are showing Esper, so it could be just Esper Hatebears. So they'll likely name War Chief here, is my guess. They don't, and then you, yeah. Oh, it's just super annoying because he drew the Krenko. So here, if they attack in, I'm going to Munitions Expert because it deals 2 damage, and then I can block. This is just like Death and Taxes. So can't be countered here is nice. Okay, getting the swords out of their hand is nice. No blocks. Could see Bowmaster here. Pick it off. There are 15. Drawing that's super annoying. Of course, they have Skyclave. Are you kidding me? Like, that's what we're dealing with? That's super frustrating. Like, you're telling me we draw nothing but War Chiefs and opponent, it's gas on curve. Seven mana. Can't do much here though. Land lets him Yorion blink. They can then name Krenko. That's just super frustrating. Like, the worst variance possible. Maybe another Skyclave. Of course. 80 card deck. Hit your stuff perfectly on curve. This deck... I think the Blood Moons could be reasonable. And then just go for the Throats. Outside of that, like, Krenko is going to be pretty good. I think we do trim a Muxus here, just because it's expensive. They're probably Bowmastering us, get rid of a Chieftain, get rid of a Ruvenald. Call it a day. Hopefully not get like completely screwed over by the shuffler. We have 3 of those, and we drew all 3 back to back to back after they Inquisitor captained us. Or Anointed Peacekeeper. Alright. This hand looks good. So, hopefully, no swords here. Of course. Why wouldn't you have a turn 1 Thoughtseize in your 80 card deck? Next turn is going to be Bowmaster. Well, that's a good draw. Get rickety wrecked. Oh no! Full mono red deck. With the unearthed cards too. Okay, well, we're just flooding hard now. Oh, come on! 80 cards, you find your basic? So lucky. I think we just get rid of Containment Priest here. We do need to be mindful of that if they have Containment Priest for the Muxus. So if they're bringing in that, we might want to trim a Muxus. Come on! Okay, that's a good one. The lifelink's kind of annoying. You can technically sack it to prevent the life gain, but the problem is now they're just ripping creatures now. And then they have this, so Muxus is even a draw for me. I need to hit my Krenko or my Sling Gang. Ruvenwall to be fine, Snoop would be fine. Honestly, even like Go for the Throat would be pretty solid. Munitions Expert. Few cards that are useful here. We maybe want to trim up. So Blood Moon's still effective. They're going to be more mindful of it. So I think we trim down a copy. And then trim down a copy of Muxus. Just go to 2 because they have the Containment Priest. Opponent get banished to the Shadow Realm. Pretty aggressive line there. I think we attack with everything here. They can take the free block. but this provides me some card advantage. Okay, I can play this next turn at least. Depending on what we draw, just like Bolt kills them. Chieftain could kill them as well, but I think we're just going to set up the Krenko here. I can't activate it because this means activated abilities cost 2 more. I think we just pass. Just because, okay, we probably want the Edict. Because they're on Containment Priest. Probably want you. Like, the Edict's not great, but it's something. They named Krenko. Probably want Ruvenalt. See, maybe cutting down 1 Blood Moon. Very good, though, if we hit it. But they're going to fetch aggressively around it. Let's do it like this. This hand's way too slow. To be honest, we had a black source, I'd keep it, but no black source, no fetch. Having 2 removal spells would be reasonable, but I don't want to keep this in the dark because we don't do a play till 3. Like, we do have the combo, which is nice. I think we take 1 mull. Okay, sounds much better. Interesting one. Krenko has a higher payoff. They're gonna fetch basics now. They don't. Never not have it. Every single game, turn 1 Thoughtseize in your 80 card deck. Did we die? Did they die? Reset the server. This client today. We'll probably call it after this game if the client's being this particular. Okay, so they took Snoop. Played out like that. Yeah, so they have their basic here. Of course, we hit Blood Moon after. Not gonna block here. Hitting deathrite's an interesting one. We might want deathrite in our deck. We would have to reconfigure our mana. It would give us another 1-drop to make us a little bit more efficient. And then lets us play a better density of fetches. We'll see what they do here and how they play it out. Like they had the ability to Inquisitor Captain regardless. They are never punished. I think we do this still. Can't get a land to save my life. Super, super frustrating. We've drawn 3 Skirks, nothing else. Now Yorian's going to come down next turn. Perfect. So we'll moon here. Hopefully lock him out of this Yorian turn. I need to basically get Krenko going. Snoop's not bad either. But I think the way we win this game is with Krenko. Of course. Of course. Does buy us a turn, but gonna hang on to that. We can channel if needed next turn, which buys us some blockers. Jeez. Channel Sokazan, double block on Extraction Specialist. Could have a Ganjo, but jeez. Super annoying that they got the deathrite back after that. No! The answer too. So frustrating. Oh wait, they don't have black mana. So you're saying there's a chance. I guess they can rebuy and blink here. Get Yorion into play. Have to block here. Just, they got like super lucky and fortunate on some of these. I had to block because Yorion's gonna blink here. They had the deathrite to get back. They just naturally had the plains, which is frustrating. Because now they reset here. Yeah, just rip everything. That one's frustrating. I do want to try a version with deathrite, just to see how that plays out. We can probably run one more just to see. Like deathrite. Is one of the best ones we can go with. I think we do cut the fables then. And probably a horde master and I think a skirk. We go up 3 here. I think we trim on a cavern. Trim on the raucous. Like, I didn't really want to bring in graveyard hate against them. They weren't really like a graveyard matters deck. They just kind of got us on some of those effects. Deathrite will give us another accelerant. It gives us something to do if we flood. It can play us around Blood Moon. Yeah, if we had a black mana there, we can kill their Deathrite Shaman, which prevents them from going Yorion that turn. Which would have really helped, but... we took the line there. It was a bit iffy, but... I think we lead on Deathrite. Because next turn I can either Skirk and Lightning Bolt. Playing a lot of mono white style strategies. I think I want to save this for the following turn to Siege Gang. Especially because we don't have another land. I think we just do this. Because this will probably bait a Bowmaster out of them if they have, so they don't. Could be Containment Priest. Not going to attack into 2 open mana. So it's the mono white Hatebears. If we search our library, they draw a card. Yeah, Thali doesn't do anything against us. Good one. We're gonna do this. Make black mana. Back this for red. More just the Thalia has first strike, which is annoying. Because now I can just kind of kill him this way there. So deathrite's felt pretty solid so far. They have the Peacekeeper, so they can name Snoop here. One thing we might want is a green source. And go another Muxus here. Or another thing. They do have these ghost quarters. They don't have really great blocks here. So they can ghost quarter me. The cool thing here, though, it does fix our mana for us. Or at least gives us another like land in the graveyard. So they do gain a life, draw a card here. Okay, so Muxus here. Muxus costs 7, so it's 4, 5, 6, 7. One, 2, 3, 4. Keep that. Make a whole bunch here. So attack with everything like this. Muxus gets a whole bunch of power. Whatever they block, then from these I just sack. And then they're dead. Cool. Cool. So probably just want to go for the throats in this matchup. Probably, like, the edicts don't do much. They're just going to hit us. They could bring something like Cajun. So we probably trim a Muxus. And trim a Slinging, probably. Or it's either like like War Chief or like Slinging, I would say. I think there's more utility. Let's do 3/3. But like the Lord effect's not bad. I don't know if they bring in Cage, whether or not they do. I'll keep this. 2 removal spells is nice. So they can needle either Krenko or Siege Gang. Lieutenant. Hello. You don't know which crank code is? So, not sure where the opponent went, what's happening with them. Frantically researching which Krenko to name. It is worse if they hit Krenko over Slinging. Fortify. The legal choice. I think with Wooded Foothills here, see what they do if we need to activate munitions here or just have bolt up. I'll just take the life here. Off the top's not bad. Adelino. Kind of want the land, but I'm gonna do this now. In case they have like another removal spell. I can go Chieftain, set up the land, and then try to overpower them that way there. Sentinel. Okay, land on top's good. They can double block here, but I happily trade 2 for 1. Like, these tax effects don't really do much against us. Got a lot of basics. Upkeep, stop, upkeep, stop. Alright, so are we done here, friend? Let me know. They block 3, that's 20, they block 3, that's 14, 16. Oh no, you're dead. Cool. Gabagoos! Gabagees, gabagoos! Deathrite felt pretty solid there. But I think there's something here. What we're going to do is make that one switch to play a Stomping Ground, just for the Deathrite to be able to have access to green mana if we need it. Deathrite also provides us some incidental graveyard hate, which would have been useful in that Hatebears matchup. So I'm pretty happy with like where we ended up. Stomping. Like the only other consideration we may want is like, I don't know how I feel about the edicts, but I would also like it against like planeswalkers, which we just didn't run into many, but could be useful. We didn't run into show and tell, which is a bit annoying. I think we could probably forego a copy of Hearse and play another removal spell. Maybe something like Molten Impact. Seems reasonable. Just give us like an extra effect here. I don't think we're going to be fatal pushing consistently enough. And while we can turn on Revolt pretty easy, I think this is where I kind of like it. Like where we ended up seems like a reasonable kind of endpoint, but let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like this kind of brew idea and kind of playing it out. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching.